Hello, everybody. How are you doing? This is Rene Santos, your birding guide from Brazil. Today, I brought a list of 6 difficult little birds from Southeast Brazil, and I will help you ID them. All right? They're quite tricky, so I'm gonna give you some tips of how to ID them, their posture, their behavior, how they look like. All right? So here we go.
Tyrannolets, toady tyrants, toady flycatchers, and entrines are always a pain in the neck, right? This video is intended to help you on how to ID them. Yes, those birds normally live high up in the canopies and require great experience to ID them. If you cannot find and hire an experienced guide, as we know this is a rare species, these little birds will prove quite tricky in the field. I will also mention a couple of the best parks to look for them in the case you are planning to bird around here by yourself. The first one is one of my favorites. This little bird belongs to the tyrant flycatchers family, as all the following ones, except the last one. A typical member of this family, the hang-nest toady tyrant can be quite restless, especially when looking for insects to eat. As with all the birds in this list, the voice of this one is very distinct, so pay attention. But it is not always that birds are vocalizing, right? So if you have this tiny bird in your view, pay attention to its overall greenish coloration. Also check its pale eyes. Check the clear spots on the lores and know that other species of toady tyrants also have them. Hang-nest toady tyrants can be found at middle and even low levels of forest edges. Present at Intervales State Park and Caraça Sanctuary in Minas Gerais state. This next bird is much more often heard than seen. The rough-legged tyrannolet has that very typical plumage of tyrannolets. The characteristic yellowish or greenish overall feathers with pale eyebrows, face markings and wing bars. Pay attention to its more vertical posture, head up and tail pointing down. If you are lucky to be close enough, you might be able to distinguish its dark and thicker legs. Also check its stubby, not pointed beak. Rough-legged tyrannolet are normally found alone and inhabit here in Brazil, preserved humid Atlantic rainforest, but also moves to drier forests in search for non-disturbed habitats. If you hear it singing, look for the tallest trees with exposed branches. It might be sitting on the very tip. Present in several protected areas such as Serra do Mar State Park and Cantareira State Park in São Paulo. Endemic to the Atlantic rainforest, the charismatic yellow lord toady flycatcher is always a target around here. It is quite similar in size and shape with other toady flycatchers. This one though has the diagnostic yellow spot on the lores and a grey head. So if you have a good view of this cutie, you shall not have any trouble on IDing it. found alone or in pairs in humid forest edges, where it can be quite common and vocal. Pay attention to its nervous, rapid calls. Present on several protected areas, such as Lagamar and Jacupiranga state parks in southeastern São Paulo state. Now, with the next bird, things are going to get trickier. This tiny bird is found on deep, humid Atlantic rainforest. It also wears the typical tyrannolet yellowish plumage. Please hit the like button and subscribe to get more videos like this. Don't forget. This is the Ostalet's tyrannolet. What a tough bird to ID. Guys, for the Ostalet tyrannolet, I have the best way to ID this one. First, check on the face, the ear markings, that it has a half moon in the cheek and also a yellowish spot above the eye. But the best way is to check on the field when it hops around. Every time it hops, the tail, the cocked tail, the tail is very cocked. It vibrates at each hop. Ostalet's tyrannolet inhabits mid and high levels of primary and old secondary forests. Its voice is quite discreet and simple. Listen. Present at Serra do Mar State Park in São Paulo and Guapiaçu Ecological Reserve in Rio. This super target of southeast Brazil joins mixed flocks of insectivorous birds. Similar to Ostalets, São Paulo tyrannolet is even more difficult to ID, and both can also be found together, although the latter prefers lower altitudes. It also has the same half-moon markings on the cheeks, which complicates their separation on the field. São Paulo tyrannolet is smaller and more yellowish than Ostalets, and has a vertical posture. It can be quite vocal and restless when looking for food. Present at Serra do Mar State Park and Serra da Bocaina National Park. Also restless and tough to have a good view is the streak-capped entrain. Look for groups of 2 to 3 individuals on mid-levels of tall forest. Found on the same mixed flocks and habitats of the last 2 tyrannolets. It favors humid Atlantic rainforest with bamboo. The streaked head can be sometimes hard to see when the bird is moving about up high. So be patient and keep your binoculars on it, as it might turn upside down to catch a prey, and you will be able to see the streaked head and the diagnostic rufous patch on the back. A very photogenic little bird, by the way. Look at these Wikiavis pictures. Awesome! It has quite distinct vocalizations for trained ears. Present at Carlos Botelho and Serra do Mar State Parks in São Paulo. That's all for today, folks. I hope this video helps you on your birding sessions around here. And in case you need to hire a professional birding guide, I left my email on the description of this video. Keep birding! And remember guys, when you visit natural areas, protected or not, you are helping to create value to them. In other words, birding is conservation. Thanks for watching.
Right here. Oh my goodness.
Ah, and remember, guys,